Hey everybody, welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega. We took a week off, but we are back, and just in time, actually. We actually now have Restaurant Week is upon us. Yes, you probably heard me clap because I'm very, very excited. Restaurant Week actually launching today. It's going to be up to June 14th, which I believe is 12 days in total, which is the time of the year where all the restaurants in Las Vegas, well, almost all of them, a lot of the big ones, participate in this 3 Square event, which actually does donate some of the proceeds to 3 Square and people who need, people in need of food and other great charities. But we're going to dive into that on this particular episode. I'm going to go over how it works, where you can find it, and also how to pick out the restaurants that you want to try and what you should be looking for as a good value when going to Restaurant Week. So, for Concierge Confidential, we're going to be talking about Restaurant Week, Las Vegas 2024. Okay, everybody, so we are talking Restaurant Week. So this is one of the most exciting weeks of the year, especially for people who love food and especially people who want to experience food on the Las Vegas Strip at a great value. So again, Restaurant Week is put on by 3 Square, which is a local charity that actually does a few of these Restaurant Weeks in different cities, actually. So not just local, but a lot of the restaurants on the Las Vegas Strip and in the local area actually participate in this. And then money from Restaurant Week, when they make, if you're ordering off the Restaurant Week menu, does go to the charity 3 Square. So let's talk about it. So Restaurant Week tends to do set menus. So this is sort of the way that it works is. So you can actually, if you want to check this out, go to restaurantweeklv.org, and you can actually find all of the restaurants that are participating, where the money goes, and also the menus for all these places as well. It's also handy because if you go to the website, you can also find the reservation tab where you can make a reservation for the restaurant of your choosing. But again, this only lasts between June 3rd and June 14th. So that's this week and then next week. So just keep that in mind. It is time sensitive, and you probably should be traveling or are in Las Vegas for this wonderful event. So I've done this actually a couple times, and the restaurants actually have caught on that this is a really good way to promote their restaurant, especially if they're new, to get people in the restaurant, try it out, try the food. It's also really great for people who want to try things they've never tried before at a set price. So for the Restaurant Week menu, it's important to note it is a prefix menu. So it doesn't mean that you have to order exactly what that item is, because they actually have multiple options. So a lot of times they'll have at least 3 to 4 courses. Sometimes they have 5 courses, but usually extra courses like an amuse-bouche or like a dessert or something that they want to throw in to sort of put together the entire menu. And some of them actually have really good deals. But most of the time it is 3 courses, sometimes 4, depending on the restaurant you go to. Sometimes they'll do breakfast, sometimes do lunch, and the most popular option is dinner. So let me just actually tell you this off the top. They do have typically different pricing. Usually for their dinner pricing is usually $50, $80, and $100 or $120. So 4 really. For breakfast, typically it ranges between $20 and $30. And for lunch, it is usually between $30 and $30 and $40 for lunch options. The lunch options sometimes are the only options for a couple of these restaurants. If you go to my Instagram page, conciergeconfidential_LV, I actually did 2 restaurants last year, and one of them was Smith & Wollensky, which I think was a great value, and then also Milo's, which is over at the Palazzo, which I think was a good value because I got one of the items in the menu that I actually wanted to eat, but overall did not like the food at Milo's. But that's just me because I don't like fish. So anyways, let's talk about it. So how do you find, or what restaurant do you choose for Restaurant Week? So obviously it has to be on the Restaurant Week offerings menu. And once you go through it, pick one that you've been wanting to try or the food you think might be interesting. It's important to note that the way that this is sort of priced out, like if you went by yourself, typically if they do 3 items or whatever in general, it's usually like buy 2, get the 3rd one free. That's typically how they work the pricing out for a lot of these Restaurant Week menus. So for the most part, if you go and actually order these items yourself, it comes out to about an extra $20 to $30 you're saving. And again, this usually does not include drinks. So it's usually just the food. So take whatever you're going to be spending for, let's just say, the Restaurant Week menu, and add like $20 or $40 to it if you're going to be going with another person, because you are probably going to get a cocktail and the person next to you is also going to get a cocktail. So add another $40 onto that price, and that's probably what you're actually going to be paying. And again, it is per person. A lot of these places that actually have like family style, which we'll get into talking about this, it might actually be cheaper to go on your own and actually not do the restaurant week menu. So you have to do a little bit of research before you go, not intensive research, just, click through the menus and see how much everything's going to cost. It's pretty easy. You just go to a restaurant, click on it. It'll tell you straight out what it's going to cost. So for example, I clicked on Amalfi, which is Bobby Flay's restaurant over at Caesar's Palace. It says dinner is going to be $80, so you're looking at $80 per person. If you have two people, most of the time they want both of you to do the restaurant week menu, and a lot of places require both parties to do the restaurant week menu when you go. They tend not to let you do one person do the restaurant week and the other person do nothing. They usually require both of you to do it, just because, again, they don't want you just sharing stuff off your plate and one of you pays and one of you doesn't. That's kind of the way that it looks. So anyways, we go to Amalfi. They have dinner for $80. So you get 3 courses for this particular restaurant. The first course, you get 3 options. You get a chopped salad, or you can get the frito misto, which that's typically like fried calamari and other fried different things like that. They have bufala mozzarella, which is another option. So those are the 3 options you get for your first course. You have to pick one of them. Then you get a second course, which the second course has 4 options here, but there is a supplemental charge for one of them. So I'll tell you how that works as well. So for example, one of the choices would be chicken parmesan, which that would actually be pretty good. Then we also have cicatelli, which is a shrimp with shrimp scampi sauce. They also have a roasted branzino, which actually would be a really good value for this point because branzino is delicious. They also have filet mignon plus $20. So that would mean you have to add $20 to your bill because that is a $20 upcharge. You have to be careful for these because, again, you are basically just spending more money. The reason you're doing Restaurant Week, yes, you are trying to support a good cause, but you're also trying to get a nice sort of deal out of going to one of these restaurants. So be careful with that. Then they have a third course, which looks like it would be dessert. So they have an option of a caramel espresso tiramisu, chocolate hazelnut bundito, and then they also have orange olive cake. So all of that for $80. So you get 3 options or 3-course dinner for $80. So you times it by 2, that's pretty easy. That comes out to $160 for your entire dinner. Go ahead and add $40 for your drink. You are looking at $200 for that dinner. So again, just have to do a little bit of math before you go. That's the reason why you're doing this. Because sometimes, like I said, it's like buy 2, get 1 for free. So I'm actually going to go to a restaurant that is a place that I've been before. So we'll go ahead and for example, Carver Steak. So Carver Steak, which I think is actually a really great restaurant. Let's go ahead and look at the menu. So their menu, which I would actually recommend Carver Steak, pretty good menu for what's going on here. A lot of steakhouses do this option quite well. So I'll go ahead and kind of go through it for you. So the Carver Steak menu offers 3 courses. They have a Caesar salad. They also have a jumbo shrimp cocktail for the first course, along with Wagyu cheese bites. You choose one of these 3. I honestly would go here just for the Wagyu cheese bites because they're absolutely delicious. But the Wagyu cheese bites tend to be around $25 to $30, so that's $30 right there. Then we have the filet mignon, the black cod, or the organic roasted chicken. Let's just try to pick the most expensive thing that's on here, which would be the filet mignon. It's 8 ounces. Typically, that goes for around $70. So you go 70 plus 30, that's $100. So if you're going the filet mignon at 70, sometimes it's 68, I want to say. So somewhere around there, we'll round it up to 70. So $70 for the filet mignon, about $30 for the cheesesteak bites. You're at $100 now. So then they have a third course, which is a yuzu panna cotta, which that would be your 3 menu options. So essentially, you are already $100 for the first 2, and then the panna cotta would have got you to like $120. Essentially, that's what it costs. You're basically getting 3 items for the price of 1. So So let's just say the filet mignon is 75, the cheesesteak bites are 30. You're looking at $105. So that's basically what you have to break it down to. You have to break it down to, am I saving any money on this? Sort of, I would say. I would say if you are a person who really enjoys filet mignon, then this is probably a really great option for you. Also, you will love Restaurant Week, because let me tell you about one of the biggest, I don't want to call it a scam, but one of the biggest ways you can tell that you're maybe getting gypped out of what you could have been getting is, I don't like filet mignon. I think it's, it's a great cut of meat, but it's not my favorite. I don't like whenever you see a filet mignon on the menu, that's sort of like their throwaway saying, hey, yeah, come get this stuff. So I'm a meat person. I love to see steak on the menu. If I don't see a New York strip on the menu, then I probably won't go there, because that is my favorite cut of meat. So typically they'll have New York strips are hard to find. So I look for places with New York strip offered on the menu, because I know what the value of that is. Typically the filet mignon is usually the cheapest cut of meat in a steakhouse on the strip. Why? Because it is the smallest cut. It's about 8 ounces compared to a New York strip, which is 14 ounces. We always see those numbers, and that typically reflects in the price for a couple of things. Unless it's Kobe or Wagyu, that's usually the way that it works. So picking a restaurant. So again, like I said, you want to make sure you're getting value for some of these places. So for example, let's talk about Chica. So I actually noted this one when I was doing my research. So Chica actually has 2 options. They have an option for lunch and an option for dinner. So let's go ahead and talk about dinner. So this one is $80, and they have many options. So you always want to go to restaurants that offer many options, especially if you're going with like a date or as a couple or with another person, because you want everybody to have as many choices as possible. That's always nice, and you always never know what you're going to be in the mood for. It's good to have a game plan, I think, when you go to Restaurant Week. But let's talk about Chica. So for their first course, they actually have 3 options. They have an asado negro arepas, which is handmade arepa with short rib in it. They also have ceviche, which some people love ceviche. It's one of their favorite things. They also have a Caesar salad as an option as well. So that's your first course. Good options, a lot of very different. They have a meat, they also have a fish, and they also have vegetarian, which is Caesar salad, which is great. Then we have our second choices. So they actually have 4 different choices you can choose from here. We have a Venezuelan braised short rib, which I've had that before. It is awesome. They also have an Oaxacan rotisserie chicken, which is really good because you have a chicken option. They also have fire roasted salmon, which is really, really tasty. My sister-in-law had this when we went. And they also have a mushroom dish as well for vegetarians. So they have 4 options for their second course. And their third course, it's dessert. So they have cinnamon churros or tres leches. So this is actually a fantastic menu. It's really great. They also have, this is really great, have additional options. So whenever you're looking at the menu, go down to the bottom of the menu and it'll always have like special notes and different things of that nature. But this one has additional notes that has side choices of roasted street corn, crispy Brussels sprouts, or Yucatan tostones. So it's great that you actually get what's on the menu, and then you also get a choice of sides, which is always something you want to keep an eye out when you're picking one of these places, because it means you get more food. That's the point. More food and trying more things. So this, to me, would be an absolutely fantastic option for Restaurant Week, because you are getting essentially these 3 courses along with some additional sides for only $80. Because I know typically the short rib goes for about $65, and then you have one of the other sides, which would be the appetizers, which you can usually range between $20 and $30. So we'll say $25. So let's just say we have $65 plus $25. Now we're looking at 65 plus 85. We're looking at $90, which that's only the first 2 courses. Then we have a dessert, which is usually about $20 on its own. So you just add that. We're up to $110. So now you are getting the value of a $110 meal for $80. So essentially it cuts out about $20. So, sorry, $30. Bad at math. But that's a big deal, because then you can spend that on cocktails or whatever. So this is actually really, really fantastic. And again, if you go with 2 people, you get 2 different things of each, and you have all this food to choose from. So there's really kind of like a science behind doing Restaurant Week. So that's Really, really good to know going into it. But this Chica, for example, is a great option. So let's talk about places that are a good and not so good value. So I was actually going to put this under a bad value, but after doing a little bit of research, I found out, because when you look at Luger's, so I actually looked up Luger's on the Restaurant Week menu because they're participating. They're actually doing lunch, which is really great. They have lunch for $40, which includes the sizzling bacon, which is delicious. Then they also have for their second course sliced tomatoes and onions, which is like their thing. Mixed green salad, it's fine. Caesar salad as well. So salad for the second course. And then they also have for their third course the Luger's burger, the steak sandwich, broiled salmon, airline chicken breast, or their dry aged porterhouse. Actually, I would probably go here just for the burger because I've had all the other stuff and it actually it's really good. But they also do the Holy Cow Hot Fudge Sundae, which is awesome. Anyways, so for honestly, guys, for like Peter Luger's lunch, I would go to Peter Luger's just for lunch, just because I love their bacon. I would probably do their salad because I think their salads are really good, and I would also do the burger because I'd really love to try the burger or the steak sandwich. Those both sound delicious. But anyways, let's move on. So moving to their dinner. So typically, I looked it up. The dinner for Peter Luger's for two people, if you do, for example, on the menu, their steak for two. Their steak for two is $164, and that is actually without any of the fun stuff that goes along with it, like any of the sides. So you have to actually add all that on top of it. It comes out to a very expensive meal. You're probably looking at about $250 to $300 for that. So let's just go ahead and look at it for the Restaurant Week menu. So keeping in mind that it would probably cost us about $300 for two people to dine at Peter Luger's, which is a lot. Let's look at it this way. So you get $120. You get the sliced tomatoes and onions or the sizzling bacon. So you can get either of those options. Then you can get a second course of mixed green or Caesar salad. Doesn't matter which one you get. And then you get to the third course, which honestly, if you're getting broiled salmon or the airline chicken breast, what are you doing with your life? Because we're all here for one thing, and that is a prime dry-aged porterhouse for the table. That's what we came for, everybody. That is why we come to Peter Luger's. But it is served per person, family style. I'm assuming that it is going to cost you $120 per person here anyways. So that's $240. It also comes with their hot fudge sundae, which is another thing. So when you actually work it all out, this is probably pretty good value. You're probably going to save like maybe $20 on this entire meal because you're going to spend $240 in general, and then you're going to spend $20 each on drinks. So now you're at $280. You basically saved $20. So it is good for saving. Like if you just really break it down, you also get a choice of one side, which is essentially going to be German hashed potatoes, cream spinach, French fried potatoes, mushrooms, or fresh broccoli. You get one of those each. So you are probably actually saving a good amount. Let's just say we round it up. You're going to save between $40 and $60 just on sides because these are things that you would get normally and you have to pay extra for it. So you are actually saving about $40 for this dinner. So you are still getting savings. So this is actually a really good choice. So I know I told you guys it was going to be a bad choice and then it ended up being a good choice. So again, Peter Luger's, not bad. So let's go down the list. Some places that I actually wanted to list off that I found out and researched for you. So a couple places that I think are really good in terms of value. Lucchini, which is at the MGM Grand. They do have a $50 dinner, which is like phenomenal. Lots and lots of choices on their menu, which is really, really good. They have a classic Caesar available. You can also get their chicken parmesan. They also have pizza as well. And then a New York style cheesecake. I kind of just whittled down the menu to like the 3 items that I would get. But I would get the classic Caesar, the chicken parm. They also have spaghetti and meatballs, which is really good. And again, the cheesesteak. So that is actually really good. For $50, you get 3 items in a Vegas, on the Las Vegas Strip. That's actually a really good deal. And the food's actually good. I've been there before. They do have a speakeasy as well, called Ches Beepy, and that's MGM Grand. So moving on, we also have RPM, which is the Italian restaurant at it is at the Forum Shops, which is located by the circular staircase, which actually is a are escalators, so the rotating escalators. Though that one actually has a $50 dinner as well. They have a burrata panzanella, which looks good. They have a rigatoni alla vodka. You can also try their chicken parmesan, their spaghetti and meatballs. There's 3 different, they have like 4 different items on their second course. And of course, their tiramisu at the bottom. So that one actually is also a very good deal for $50. So if you can get any dinners like around here for $50, that's pretty good. You're $100 out the door. That's how you save money in Las Vegas. So people always say, why aren't you trying to save money in Vegas, Brian? I do sometimes, at least for restaurant week. Another option that I actually forgot to list here, but I think is really good, is over at the Venetian inside of their shops, the Grand Canal shops, is Smith & Wollensky. Smith & Wollensky has a fantastic menu for anybody who loves steak. They have a New York strip. You can also do a Caesar salad or a chopped salad as your first course. Then you also have, for their third course, what I got was a chocolate cake, and that's it for $80. So that's typically like a value about $120 that you get for $80 over at Smith & Wollensky, and it is phenomenal. I would recommend that to anybody coming to Vegas for restaurant week. Love Smith & Wollensky. They have a really great layout, and I would highly recommend it. So did all those. One that I think is actually really good for anybody who, 1, loves this person, 2, loves to try new types of cuisine, and 3, loves good value, is Jaleo over at the Cosmopolitan. So Jaleo is actually owned by Jose Andres, and it is a Spanish cuisine restaurant, typically quite high-end, and it actually just serves food that's very, very interesting and unique and sort of stretching the boundaries, if you will. But you'll notice this. When you open it up on the Restaurant Week menu, that'll say Jaleo by Jose Andres. It pops up with a special note. Make sure to read the special notes because that tells you when things are open or not open. Sometimes they won't offer the menu on like a Saturday, so just keep that in mind. But it says, when you order from our Las Vegas Restaurant Week menu, you will receive all items listed. So that will pipe you up. Usually that means because they're smaller portions, but you kind of go with it anyways. So, for example, their dinner is $100. So it's $100. So you're like, okay, what do I get for my $100? So they actually have 4 courses. 4 courses. They also have their first course, which comes with a lot of words that I cannot pronounce. Toasted slices of uniquely crisp ethanol bread, brushed with fresh tomato and cheese. Cool. Tomatoes and cheese. Fantastic. They also have a cured Serrano ham. Usually sliced, so it's like very, very thin. They also have another, it's an ensalada. So they have a Spanish tapas style salad with vegetables, mayonnaise, imported, conserved, tuna. But you get all those options. You get all 3 of those. Then you get their second course, which is going to be croquettes with chicken. So it's chicken fritters. They also have a tomato soup. You also get peppers filled with carne, cabra, goat cheese, and mushrooms. So that'll be your second course. So again, all very light, but there's 3 items. Also, their third course, they have flat iron steak, essentially. They also have shrimp with garlic and extra virgin olive oil. And they also have a wood-fired paella, which is a very large dish as well. So they also have a 4th dish, which is flan, which is very delicious. But again, you get all those items I just said. You don't have to pick one. You get all of them. So you have to be careful because when you're looking at the menu, it says choice of. Just remember, you get all the items listed, which is a lot. So again, keep that in mind. There's also really nice pictures like on the top of the, you can click through, and it actually shows you what some of the items are. So that's actually very helpful. Hey everybody, this is Brian Ortega from Concierge Confidential, and this episode is brought to you by AO Painting, who have been experts in specialized coating servicing Arizona for over 40 years. AO Painting specializes in industrial projects and are a one-stop shop for sandblasting, industrial painting, waterproofing, and much, much more. To see more of their work and to get a quote, you can visit aopaintinginc.com. That's aopaintinginc.com. AO Painting, where specialized is where we start. Okay, so things to avoid for Restaurant Week. Like I kind of said earlier, avoid breakfast. Like, don't spend money on Restaurant Week on breakfast. Like, it's not going to be worth it. Yeah, it's $20, but then you're going to get a bunch of things you don't want. And, like, the first course is like a tea or a soda or a coffee. That sucks. Also, if you're going to a steakhouse specifically, if the steakhouse does not offer like a ribeye or a New York strip, even if it's like supplemental, it's not worth it either. So, for example, I'm looking at Jean Georges with Jean Georges Steakhouse at Aria. It's $120, and these are your options that you can get for their first course. You can get a tomato salad. That actually sounds kind of good. Wagyu beef carpaccio, fine. Crispy sushi, fine. Their second course is Alaskan halibut, chicken, or a wood-grilled filet mignon. That's fine, especially if you want to keep something, especially if you're a filet mignon fan, then this is great. But you're not getting the true value that you could be getting someplace else. Also, Jean Georges, quite an expensive restaurant on its own, so it actually might be just worth it to go in the restaurant. Also, their third course is a New York style cheesecake and salted caramel sundae. That's fine. But to me, this is not a menu that I need to go to the restaurant and try it this way. If I'm going to go to that restaurant, I want to try it the way that I want to try it, and that's kind of my philosophy. But again, I've been doing it for a couple years now, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm looking for. By the way, just for fun, let's just go look at La Fontaine, which this is over at Fontainebleau. They do breakfast, which that's their thing. Let's see what they got. They got overnight oats, souffle pancakes. That sounds kind of good. Omelet, something. Gourmelade? Gourmelande. Yep, it's just fun just hearing me try to say words. Then we also have a crepe Suzette. It looks fine. I couldn't pronounce half the names on it either, so maybe a pass. But again, that was $30. They do have a lot of off-the-strip things, so just make sure you look through here, especially if you're a local listening to the pod. By the way, locals listening to the pod, thank you very much. They have a lot of options, and you're going to get really good deals at places that are off the strip. So, for example, they have Lotus of Siam. June 8th, they are not doing Restaurant Week, but they are open. So they're doing dinner for $60, where you can get a lot of different options. Just keep an eye out. They have Thai noodles, crispy duck. I like that. But again, that's another thing. But speaking of Asian cuisine, I don't typically recommend you do sushi for Restaurant Week because sometimes it's priced up. So then you actually are not getting as many sushi rolls as you want or nigiri. I don't think it's always 100% worth it. So again, I typically recommend. I don't really eat sushi in general, but I typically try to stay away from sushi for Restaurant Week because I don't think that it is actually worth it. Let's look at everybody's favorite, Mon Ami Gabi. Mon Ami Gabi is actually one of the more better valued places on normal days. So their dinner is $60, which is actually pretty good. You get a lot of options. So just from the beginning, I would highly recommend this is a good choice because they have so many choices to choose from. So for their first course, you can get onion soup, gazpacho, baked goat cheese, tomato salad, or gem lettuce salad. 4 options for first course dinner is pretty good. Second options, this is sort of your main dinner. They have cavallette and prawns. They also have salmon with spinach and baby kale, grilled chicken breast, or what they are known for, they're world famous, steak and frites, which typically their steak frites are usually about, $50, $60 on their own. So it's actually a pretty good value. And then they also have their third course, which is creme brulee, chocolate mousse, cheesecake, or profiteroles. So this is actually a really good option for dinner. I would highly recommend Mon Ami Gabi for their Restaurant Week menu. You're getting out of there at $120 and you get a 3-course meal with their steak frites. It's really good. Yeah, you have to know some of the signatures that people go to these restaurants for, because if those are on the menu, it's 100% worth doing. So I went to Milo's last year and I got their octopus dish. I can't remember. I think it was it was something. It was something with the octopus, and it was delicious. But that was their main thing, and then everything else was kind of meh beyond that. So I don't know. Ooh, by the way, Mr. Chow does the same thing that other places do. So let's take a look at it. So Mr. Chow, we're just kind of going through menus now because I think it's just fun talking through them. So for their dinner, it's $120. So $120, and I'm actually going to click on this one more time. So Our Restaurant Week menu is tasting menu. Guests will get everything in each course. That's a good value, guys. God, I feel like I'm selling insurance. So their dinner is $120 per person, so that's $240 total. So their first course, you're going to get their Mr. Chow spare ribs. They also have lobster shumai, fresh scallops on the shell, and then a turnip puff, whatever that is, with ham. They also have filet mignon. They have spicy pork, drunken fish, Beijing chicken, and then they have vegetable sauteed rice on the side, especially also with bok choy. So that's cool. And then the third course is their chef selection desserts, so whatever that means. But overall, there's a lot of food, especially for a Chinese restaurant. They have all these different options, including like a steak dish, pork, fish, chicken, and then you also get their first courses with their spare ribs, which they're really well known for their spare ribs. So like I said, good choice. Mr. Chow's, I would say, is a good choice for anybody coming to Vegas for Restaurant Week. I would say that's a go. So let's go. This is a really good option of a place that I think might be on the interesting side. So this is Nico's. Nico's is at the new Durango. So this place offers only these three options. So sometimes these are good, but sometimes not always the best. So they have 3 courses, and there's only one item for each course. So their first course is Finding Nico, which is albacore, uni, scallop, caviar, black truffle, and a vinaigrette. Those are actually all 3 awesome menu items, so maybe worth it. They also have a New York strip, which is also worth it. So you actually giving me 2 items that are actually delicious, and then a warm butter toffee cake. So not gonna lie, guys. I was kind of shitting on this menu to begin with, but they're all very, very high quality ingredients. I would say this may be worth it. I would say this is actually maybe worth it. But if you don't like any 3 of these items, then maybe it's not worth it because, again, you are trying something you don't like. But seared albacore, uni, scallop, caviar, black truffles, and a vinaigrette. I don't know, guys. That's pretty good. This is actually pretty good value. Man, every time I go to talk, trash about some of these places, they're actually pretty tasty. So anyways, you guys got the idea. There's lots of these places in town. Make sure to go to their website, restaurantweeklv.org, to find all of the different options to choose from. Again, it has all the restaurants that are participating in this menu and then are this week. And again, it's from the 3rd to the 14th. I will be participating. I will be going to one of these restaurants myself, but I don't want to say which one it is because I want to surprise the person that I'm taking. So hopefully that's fun. I like it. It's not bad. So anyways, we are all done. So this is the Restaurant Week planning guide. Hopefully it was helpful for anybody. If you have questions about this, feel free to message me on any of my social channels, conciergeconfidential_LV or Brian_Ortega26 on Instagram, or you can message me on TikTok or the other one, which is Twitter, which that's at Keys to Vegas. If you have any questions about the Restaurant Week layout, format, or some of the best ways to attack it, or if you have a restaurant in mind, I can look it up and then I can spout out how much it's going to cost for you to go. But again, check their website out. It's going to be the most helpful way to figure out what your planning should do. So again, this was Concierge Confidential. My name is Brian Ortega. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you see me out in town, come say hello. And remember, keep it confidential.